Anthony Smith versus Dominick Reyes is in the works. The fight is being targeted for UFC 310 on December 14th. Smith is coming off a unanimous decision loss to Roman Dolidze. Dominick Reyes is coming off a KO win over Dustin Jacoby. They got Alex Pereira with the "just give me my money" trend.
Just give me my money. Hey. Just give me my money. Hey. Just give me my money. Hey.
Just give my money. Oh, did you know? Huh? Yeah. Huh?
Caiu.
Chito Vera reflects on his unanimous decision loss to Deiveson Figueiredo recently. Chito believes he came back too quick after his loss to Sean O'Malley. He also says that he thinks the referee should have taken a point from Deiveson for an illegal strike at the end of the first round.
I just want to say one thing about me coming back a little too quick. Me and the team definitely got to the conclusion that we definitely come back too soon. I went into a 5-round war with the champion, and we all agree after my March title fight that we will come back either November in New York or December. There was no chance of us coming back early, right? So I feel that was a mistake on us. I would say it on me. It would be a way smart decision to stick to the original plan, but it is what it is. Talking about the fight, I would say it was pretty close. It was a very close fight. The only thing that I want to take away from this fight, that axe kick that he landed in the first round, that wasn't an accident, that went straight to my face. I feel that should have been taken a point deducted automatically. That's my thought. I mean, you go by the rules, right? You don't kick a ground opponent. And I will say, if that would have been a point deducted, we could be talking a different story right now, but it is what it is. I will just take my time this time, and I'm definitely not coming back too soon. I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna regroup again, get better, keep improving, and just get my body fully right. There's nothing that I want more than become a world champion. That's something that I dream about, and the dream is not over. There's many good options out there. I mean, I can rematch Corey Sandhagen. I can fight Peter Yan. I can even rematch Figueiredo at some point. They gotta be a loser from the fight from O'Malley and Merab. So I mean, the options are bright. The options are there, but first things first. Just get my body fully correctly, get back to the drawing board, and make sure my mind is right.
Kamaru Usman has a new added motivation now that Belal Muhammad is the welterweight champion. On his YouTube channel, Kamaru said, "Well, jump right back into action. The biggest thing for me is getting healthy. So if I can get this healthy and get this body right, I told you, I'm the best in the world. I just got to get my body right. So post-champion, post-new champion, first workout, first day in the gym end. Obviously when something like that happens, it gives you a new added motivation. I was never not motivated. It's just getting the health in order." Deiveson Figueiredo believes Sean O'Malley is an easier matchup for him than Merab and Umar. In a recent interview with MMAfighting.com, Deiveson said, "I know this win over Chito Vera can take me to a title fight soon. I don't know what's going to happen next. I sell fights better, but I don't know what Dana White and the bosses are planning. Sean O'Malley knows that I'm a thorn in his side. He's taking shots at me ever since I moved up in weight, and I'm sure I'm the one he wants to fight. We have to make the boss want this fight too. It would be harder to grapple with Umar and Merab, but I can impose my game and become champion. O'Malley moves a lot and it's hard to touch him, but I would be aggressive on the feet against him. O'Malley moves a lot and has good boxing, but we don't see any power there. He has good boxing, he throws a lot of kicks, but we don't see those hard knockout shots that hurt his opponents, you know? It would be really hard for him to knock me out." Renato Moicano and Gilbert Burns disagree on who would win between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. Renato picks Aspinall, Gilbert picks Jones.
If your life depended on it right now and someone said you have to pick the winner of Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, if you win, you stay alive. If you lose the pick, your life is over.
Bro.
Who is your pick? I'm starting with Gilbert.
Jon Jones.
I go Jones.
I think I go Aspinall.
Aspinall.
I go Aspinall.
I'm not.
Because
I like the guy.
Because he's not a regular heavyweight. He's fast.
I know.
Yeah.
Usually heavyweights are slow. And Jon Jones is not on his prime anymore.
Jon Jones is
Remember Dominick Reyes? He was touching him. Thiago Santos was touching him. Like at the end of his career, he was not the same Jon Jones, 23 years old, knocking Shogun out. And now you have Aspinall. Aspinall is right now what Jon Jones used to be, I think.
Ahead of his PFL MMA debut, Francis Ngannou's coach Eric Nixick says that he believes Francis has fallen in love with MMA again. Francis is scheduled to fight Renato Figueiredo on October 19th. Speaking to MMAfighting.com, Eric said, I'm excited for him. Honestly, I think for me as a coach, just trying to get him through the loss of his son was the most important thing, and get him back in the gym and get him back around the fellas and back to training. With that being said, that process, I think, has led him to feel comfortable in taking this fight, getting back in the cage, and then doing his PFL obligations. So first and foremost, man, I think he was just getting through that hard part and that hard stretch, which I don't think he's necessarily through. I think he's just being able to occupy his mind and his time with MMA, and thankfully he's willing and wanting to come back and fight. I didn't think his MMA career was done because of the conversations that we have. I think just because of his competitive nature and the legacy that he wants to leave behind when it comes to MMA, the things that we spoke about, I definitely felt like he was going to come back and fight. Then there's just a lot of the freedoms that PFL has given him. I think that he really enjoys and wants to help build this promotion. So if he's the bell cow when it comes to PFL, I think he kind of wants to carry that role and help make this organization better. I really think that he's fallen in love with MMA in a way that when we were fighting Ciryl Gane before the knee injury, that he was kind of scratching the surface of his actual athletic potential when it comes to MMA. That's something he told me in the past. So knowing the competitor that he is, I always felt he's definitely going to fight again in MMA. On Renato Figueiredo, Eric continued, confidence in this sport is something that can take you over the top more than skill at times. Just believing in your skill set and winning the way he has been winning, reeling off some good wins, heading into the Francis Ngannou fight, I think that Hayden has this confidence that he can beat anybody, as he should. He's very good, and he's a guy that Francis and I have been watching even before he was in the PFL. Like, oh man, this guy is good. So I think just keeping Francis focused on the task at hand and understanding that this guy is dangerous everywhere, but I feel like we have the ability to kind of neutralize some of those things that he does well and go out and make it a short night. Daniel Cormier thinks the UFC may be protecting Alex Pereira from Magomed Ankalaev. DC thinks it's the hardest matchup for Alex in the entire light heavyweight division.
And I don't know why Pereira is not fighting Ankalaev right now. I don't know why that's not happening. But what I do like is that now Ankalaev has to pass another test. Because what the UFC is kind of saying here is, we've got this star. And we know that this guy here could be a real potential issue for that star. They will fight eventually, but they will fight when we have no other option. And I like it. I like it. I don't think you run the risk yet. And I'm not saying Pereira can't fight or beat Ankalaev. I just feel like it is a very, very difficult matchup, possibly the hardest matchup for him in the entire light heavyweight division. So I think he has to wait, right? Or you get him in there with someone else right now that's a striker. Because all these strikers, he's just knocking out left and right. And every time he does that, Chill, his star just shines brighter. So maybe that is what happens for Alex Pereira. But I'm very rarely surprised when fights get announced. But I remember sitting in Manchester and they said what UFC 308 held. And when I saw Rakic taking on Ankalaev, my jaw dropped. I was like, they actually did it. Like, sometimes you gotta protect that golden goose a little bit, and that's kind of what it feels like.
Following Jon Jones saying that he will be retired by next year, Tom Aspinall sent a message to Alex Pereira. Yesterday, Jon wrote this on Instagram. He wrote, "Fun fact, after this year, Jon Jones will never have to work again, retired at age 37, winning." On his YouTube channel, Tom says he'll see Alex next year for the undisputed heavyweight title.
So the guy's a superstar in the sport, so do whatever you want, but if we meet, for sure, I think we're both on the same page, it's going to be for an undisputed heavyweight title, so maybe see you next year at some point. Like I say, I've got a lot of respect for Alex Pereira and what he's done in the sport, and especially in a short amount of time. But if we're going to make it happen, it's going to be for the undisputed title, so see him there.
At UFC 305 next week, Israel Adesanya will try to reclaim the UFC middleweight title against Dricus Du Plessis. Ahead of the fight, Izzy says he plans to make Dricus take accountability for his previous comments. Dricus said that he's the first real African champion because he still resides and trains there. Speaking to MMA Junkie, Izzy said, "I haven't even fought the guy yet. Those rivalries with Pereira and Whitaker, those are etched in history. Me and this guy haven't even fought yet. Now we'll fight and settle the score. But nah, it's not really personal. What he said was blasphemous, because without myself, Francis, and Kamaru, he wouldn't be able to be champion or whatever. What he said was really blasphemous, and he'll take accountability for what he said. He'll be forced to. I'll say so definitely. It's not going to be some kind of pitter-patty cake type shit. We're going to fight. I mean, my last fight wasn't really pitter-patty cake. I just couldn't get going, and I got beat. but this one's going to be pretty interesting from the jump. This is special to achieve something like that, but that's not the main focus. I just know what the main focus is, and by doing that, the others will follow. That's why I'm focused on the main thing, which is just taking his head off. Dricus also had words for Izzy this week. Dricus spoke on the face-off they had in the octagon. He said obviously he was very fired up during that face-off. The reason why he reacted the way he did and behaved like an absolute clown in that octagon when we faced off after the Whitaker fight was because he watched me fight Whitaker and beat him better than he did. It was 100% a fight or flight response from him. He was like, okay, this is real. He made himself look like a fool then, but obviously he went back and looked at the footage and told himself, and hopefully the people around him told him like, you look like a complete jackass. Don't do that again. And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. The first one's from JJ Mars 0915. It says Belal and Sausage Party over Usman and Black Panther. The second one's from Mr. Ripper 113. Says it would be funny if Stipe actually beats Jones. And the final one's from Jaded J. It says Usman and Belal online wars like Ali doing sock puppets in different voices. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.